Hello, this is Raza, and you are in my channel RHT Science Innovation Tags. In our series of Excel function, this is our third part, where we will be going to discuss the average, average ifs functions. So how these functions are working in average, actually how the average is workings. In average, we actually do what we could sum all the numbers and divide by the numbers how they are. For example, if we sum all of these, for example, let me sum this, and how many number we are, this is 11. So if we divide this 70, this number, this sum divided by this 11, so we will get 66. So how this average is actually working, and I have written something here for you people so that you could understand how at the back it is working. Sum of the range, so this is the sum of the range and the numbers of the range, and the number of the range, we have how many numbers, 11. So it is, if you divide by 11, so it's give us 66. So this actually be done by summing and then divide by the number, but in Excel it is automatically comes. So how it works, like we use now Excel formula average. This is quite simple thing for the beginner, but furthermore we will go in details. This is, if you, this is the range area, if you take average, it's give what's this 65 point something, and here we will getting this divided by, why we are getting this is 66, because it is round up. So if we remove the round symbols, it will give us the same number that we are getting. If you further remove this round up, it will give the same numbers. So how we could do this round up? By auto roundups. One way is that if you could do from here, for example, I do like this. The second way is that, but it will be in back side, but if you round up, it will automatically convert these number into the whole number. I can also guide you about the roundup, like in front of the average you could write round up to how many digits we are doing is up to 0, and we don't want to have this part of this 9 point. If now you can do, if you apply this, it will give 0 because we put up the average, the roundups techniques. I will also teach you this in coming videos, but this is just for your understandings. If you remove, it will give us the same thing that we have in average. That we remove so that you guys understand how the average is working. So let me expand. Maybe you guys are worried that here is 65.99 and here is 61 because we did not expand it. If you expand it from here, so it will be the same numbers. So this is how the average is working. Now if you see, you guys, let, I have to remove one number from this, like I have to remove this 45. So what will come in this place? Look at it, becomes 68. Why? Because now Excel ignore this whole cell. This cell Excel will ignore, and it will consider that they have how many number now, tens. So they now dividing the numbers by 10, not by 11, like this. So see, this is, let me expand it. This is 68. So here we also 68. Why? Because Excel ignore this empty cell. If you write a 0, then it will never ignore. Look, if I write 0 now, the number is getting changed. See? So Excel actually, what should do? Excel ignore the empty cells. If I remove, look, it's now becomes 65, 68, sorry. So how it work actually? It's what, let me show you something here. Before I'm showing this, let me explain the average A. What is average A? Actually, it's considered the character in that ones. So in that formula average A, if you're gonna sum this, it also gives 68. Now you guys will see here, you will ask the question, then what is the difference between this average and average A? Actually, average A consider the cell if we write something a characters. For example, I write here Raza, as usually I'm writing Raza. Now we see this cell as a number, but what number it considered as a zero. So in average it is considered like a, it's give the number to this cell a zero. That's why in average A it is 61, while the same range I have selected in average, but it gives us 68. Why? Because average formula ignore the cell with that have a character. So actually this cell now have the characters. That's why it's ignoring it. So average A will not ignore it. If you write a zero here, then both the result will be the same, because both will consider this one as a row. But if you write a text, it will never be the same. So how it's working, the average and average A, let me show you in some figure here. Let's suppose I have this row, this core data where we have 0 1 2 3, and the next cell where in front of that it is right as ignore. This is empty cell, they have nothing, and the other cell have true, false, and apples. One thing more, in average A, the value where it is false, it's considered as an empty cells. When there is a true, there it's considered as a 1 in average A. But all these empty and character average ignore simple, while average A will consider it. So if you add these in average A, it will actually add the whole this 0, 1, 2, and 3. Add this one, and in place of this empty cell, it ignore, it will give nothing, and in true, it give 1. In case of false, it just consider as zero value, but it will divide by, but it will consider the count numbers. Like these are the count numbers. This is how much 11 we have. So in this case, it will consider the cell that it have a numbers, but it will give a value to the number 0. But if you write true in some cell, it will give a 1 to it. So that is all about the background work, how it working. So this is the simple if functions in averages. Let I have to do here, I will write something like put 5. So now we'll use average if. What is its function, how it works? Actually, it is just average those number with a little bits giving the condition. For example, I'm writing this average A, average if, sorry. Now the range, what is the range? The range where you want to give the criteria. For example, I can also give the range this one, or either I can give this one, whatever. But first of all, I'll give this range. First, I will give this range. I'll give this range, and now I'm telling to this range, I'm giving the criteria. What are the criteria I'm giving? I'm giving this, that in this range, if the numbers are greater than, for example, this is greater symbol, greater than 80, for example, greater than, not 80, I will just consider that 78, for example. Then you could take an average of all those numbers. So how it works, let's give enters. It's give me 83. Why it's give me 83? Which number it has considered? I gave the logic that if the number is greater than 78, so 80 is greater, we could highlight it. Next is this 80 is also greater, we could highlight it. The next is this 90 is also greater than, and this 85 also greater than. Let's see how our function is working. As we know, in average, what is the formula? Sum of the range and divide by the number of. So in sum of the range, what value we have? This plus this plus this and plus this. How many number are these are? We have to bracket it. How many number these are? These are 4 number. If you divide by 4, what it give us? 83.75. The same number is here. Look how it works. So this I give the logic I give inside the arrays in this array. I can also give the range from outside this array. For example, I'll give something to this one. I'll just say this, that average a function, the range is, I give the range here. I see it's, if it is this range, and in this range if we have a math, and just give in bracket, if we have a math, if not a math, I can just give here something. Now I give some reference here. For example, I give the reference of this cell. Then I will write something. This, then you could do what? You could average those numbers. So how it working? Let me see. Let me enter. Now it's give nothing. Why? Because I did not write something here. If I give here, this is math. Look, see what it come. It's give me 55 numbers. Why? Because now we get the average of all math. So this is math. What we have math, another, this is maths, and this is math. How many math we are this? Let's see what is it working or not. So these are the maths. In front of math we have 80 plus 40 plus 45. So we're going to add these. Now how many these are? These are 3. So let's divide by 3. So what the answer is? The answer is 55. Let me expand so that you could not confuse in it. So if we expand it, it is also 55. So see, this is here also 55. So how you guys know that it could also, you can give the criteria range inside the range area, or you can give from outside the range. You can also give with the student's name. You can also give the salary, if Averageifs. Now the range, average of range, this is, we want to average the mark. The first criteria, the average range. Now the criteria range, what is the criteria range? We'll give if it is, the range is subjects. If it is subject, what? If it is this one, it could be English, it could be anything. This one, then the second criteria we will give here, if it is the second, the student name, we will consider student name. And in student name, this is the range, second range. And in second range we could consider like this, will the second range criteria. So we'll sum it, it will give nothing. Why? Because we give here this cell, the down cell, we give there the options. We can also give this one, but I give this. So let's, from the student, I'll just take Han. I'll put Han here. So it gives 70. How it's selecting? It is selecting, let me first highlight to you how it working. In past range we say that you could average these number if it is English. So it will be selecting all these numbers that have English. So I'll just selecting it. See, and the second option we give, if it is the student name, what we give, if it is Han. So it's give what? It gives 60. Why it gives 60? Because this is one number, and 60 divided by 1 is equal to 60. If I change the criteria here, for example, I'm writing here, this is in place of Shaukat, I'll say, no, in case of Amir, I'll say that it is also Han. So what will be the answer now? The answer will be changed. Come guys, here is now 75. Why? Because it's add these two number and divide by 2. So it's give 75. As in the down, it is also, here you can see the average is 75. So that's how the average, average A, and average if and average ifs are working. We So that's all for today. I hope you guys could understand these functions. For next video, I will be coming with the new things that will be further coming with advanced versions where we will be teaching you dsum, daverage, and dcount. That will be a little bit tricky, and we'll meet you in the fourth video in Excel those functions. See you next time.